Guys, how would you feel if after 2 years of burying your wife, you saw her living her best life somewhere in Europe? Listen to this story, guys. My wife and I were married for almost 5 years with one child before she died from fibroid complications. A few months before her death, we decided to try again for another child after many failed attempts. One fateful Monday afternoon, my wife came back from the hospital after meeting with her doctor and told me that her doctor said she had fibroid, which is why it's been difficult for her to conceive. We started looking for solution, then we concluded that she would undergo surgery to remove this fibroid. She agreed to it. A few weeks to the surgery date, my wife changed her mind. She said she doesn't want the surgery anymore. Rather, she would use the native medicine her mother recommended for her. I loved my wife so much that I can do anything just to see her healed. So when she told me about using a native doctor instead of a medical doctor, I agreed and gave her my consent. I was just desperate to see her happy. She went to stay with her mom because it's closer to the herbalist place. She would stay like 2 weeks, sometimes a month, then come back and spend some days with us before going back. This continued for months until one day I received the news that shattered my entire world. My wife had died from concussion overdose given to her by the herbalist. I was shattered. It wasn't easy on our son either. She was later buried according to tradition, and before she was laid to rest, I saw my wife's corpse with my 2 naked eyes. 4 years later, I got a visa to one of the European countries, so I traveled, leaving our son with my aged parents. He was going to join me later. It's been 3 years since I relocated to this foreign country. Then one Saturday morning, I went to this local market to buy some African foodstuff, and I got the shock of my life. Tell me why I would see someone that looks exactly like my wife shopping in the same market. Accompanied by her was this man and a little boy. I presume they were her husband and their son. I stood there watching every move this woman made. Her voice, her body language, her laughter, everything about this lady screamed my wife. I stood there wondering if God can actually create 2 people exactly the same way, both in character and physical appearance. I couldn't hold it anymore, so I walked up to her, called her by her name. Blessing, she turned. But when she saw me, her countenance changed. She asked, "Please, do I know you?" I said, "Sorry, you look exactly like someone I used to know." My wife, she said, "No, it's not me." Without looking back again, she left to go and meet her husband and kid where they were. It wasn't up to 2 minutes I saw them leaving. Within me, I knew that that was Blessing, my late wife. I was convinced. But what should I do? How do I get to the bottom of this? Immediately they entered their car, I jumped into mine and started following them until they got to this house I believe was their house. Then I turned and went back home. The next day, I went back to that house. Inside, I met only the man, her husband. I approached him and I said, "Excuse me, sir. I met someone that looks like my late wife here yesterday. Could you tell me your wife's name?" He said, "Blessing." "Exactly," I said. "That's my late wife's name." Then I brought out my phone and showed him my late wife's pictures, including our wedding pictures. He was as shocked as I was. We both decided that I wait for her to return home so we could confront her together. Few hours later, the door opened. You needed to see the look on her face when she saw me. To cut the whole story short, my supposed late wife told me that it was all a lie. There was never any fibroid issue to start with. It turned out that my wife met her current husband online and the guy promised to bring her to the Europe so they could get married. She didn't want to miss the opportunity, so she accepted. While I was at home, shuffling work and childcare, thinking that my wife was receiving treatment, she was busy processing her visa, and when she got the visa, she faked her own death with the help of her mother. How could she do this to me? To her own son? How could a mother abandon her own child because she wanted to travel to the Europe? She made us mourn her for 7 years. 7 years of emotional bondage, all for nothing. Will I ever trust any woman in this life again? I'm not sure.